everyone. I'm so honored to be here to present you my project, Exploring Intertextuality, a synthesis of the pedagogical practices in academic reading and writing. I am who you are now, you can call me Hana, and my advisor is Dr. Bong. So, why did I initiate this project? First of all, many previous studies, they have synthesized that integrated reading and writing tasks such as summary writing, synthesis writing are the most assigned and performed tasks in authentic academic settings. However, as an ESL teacher working with L2 learners, I have firsthand witnessed L2 learners, they struggle with academic reading and writing tasks, such as they find it so hard to just identify the main ideas in their readings, let alone incorporating them into their own writing. Therefore, I want to help. I've seen a pressing need for an integrated approach to better effectively help L2 learners improve their academic literacy. This is the outline of my capstone project. It also serves as the agenda for today's presentation. After I elucidate every important component of my project, I will end this presentation with the conclusion and key takeaways. I know, you might be curious about what it is. So, what is intertextuality? It refers to the reading-writing connection in which the generic, rhetorical, and linguistic choices a student makes as a writer will be influenced by the text preceding or surrounding the text under construction and will have its effect on their textual production. So, to put it simply, this is intertextuality. It refers to the process connecting reading and writing in an implicit and explicit way. For example, when we write our research papers, it is inevitably that we have to just cite and quote or paraphrase some other text legitimately without just copying and pasting, conforming to academic conventions using APA style. I benefited from intertextual process a lot as well. I come from Taiwan. So in 1971, the New York Post published one article entitled Going Home, which inspired the song, the creation of the song, Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Dog Tree. The song became so famous, so popular. Even the article Going Home was compiled into textbook. Everybody back then, they had to just read it. My mom was crazy about the song, so crazy. So she forced me to read the lyrics, learn the song, and perform it in front of so many guests. At Chinese New Year's party, and I did a great job. I got a lot of red envelopes, so since then, I have been falling in love with learning English. Even now, I can remember the whole song. Just like your work, I can get rid of it. So from my experience, it shows that how texts can magically interact with each other in an implicit and explicit way. So, why not intertextuality? Many previous studies, they suggest that effective student writers capitalize on intertextuality by associating text with one another. Therefore, enlightened by previous studies. In this capstone project, I aim to bridge theoretical perspectives in existing literature with a practical application in educational settings through the lens of intertextuality and social-cultural theory. So here are my two research questions. How do pedagogical practices incorporating intertextuality enhance academic reading and writing skills in higher education context? And how can guidelines be developed to effectively integrate intertextuality into pedagogy? Now let's take a look at the theoretical framework underlying this project. Here are the two scholars whose works underpin this capstone project. On our left, we have Norman Bearclough. He's a professor of linguistics at Lancaster University. He is also the founder of critical discourse analysis. He conceptualized intertextuality and interdiscursivity in 1992. Also, we have Levi Gusky. a Russian psychologist who developed so many influential theories and concepts, including social cultural theory, zonal proximal development, more knowledgeable others, and our favorite word in the field of TESOL, that is scaffolding. And I believe that the majority of the audiences in this classroom, you must be appreciating Lev Vygotsky so very much. Because of him, we have read so many papers, and we have many more to read in the future. This is the first framework, intertextuality, proposed by Fairclough in 1992. It refers to how texts, they influence and interact with one another in a discourse context. It has two very important subtypes. First, we have the manifest intertextuality referring to explicit referencing. It focuses on four very important elements: discourse representation, presupposition, meta-discourses such as paraphrasing or hedging, reproduction of words and phrases. It also has another subtype of interdiscursivity, referring to the use of elements in one discourse and social practice that carry institutional and social meanings from other discourses and social practices. It also focuses on four elements: genre, activity type, style, and discourse. The second theoretical framework is socio-cultural theory, proposed by Vygotsky. So from social-cultural perspectives, learning happens in social interaction with the support and guidance. And peer interaction is also important because it provides learners with opportunity for languaging, where students, they can engage in active language use, and collective scaffolding, which promotes collaborative learning and mutual support. Also, we have the zonal proximal development. It refers to the difference between what students, they can do independently or what they can achieve with the guidance and support. In the context of academic reading and writing, zonal proximal development posits that development is greatly enhanced through social interaction mediated by instructors, peers, and the text themselves. Now let's take a look at the methods. This is the methodological framework proposed by Tron and Renders in 2020. It also serves as the roadmap I took to conduct the present study. I first formulated two research questions, and then I identified several keywords such as intertextuality, interdiscursivity, reading-writing connections, and social interactions and such. And then I used the three tools to conduct a literature search, such as digital sites to referee inclusion criteria to evaluate the literature. For data extraction, I developed a checklist. Stage 6, synthesizing qualitative data is the most important stage of the whole project. I adopted grounding theory, including initial coding, focus coding, and axis coding to synthesize the qualitative data to identify the salient patterns and themes. Last but not least, I adopted a thematic approach to report the finding and discussion to make it more focused. Now let's take a look at the finding and discussion of this project. In order to answer the two research questions, I identified three pedagogical practices. They are summary writing, reading response journals, and discourse level teacher written feedback. I also proposed 4 guidelines for educators to incorporate intertextuality into pedagogy. They are promoting collaborative learning, enhancing genre awareness, avoiding plagiarism, and scaffolding the intertextual process. So now let's take a look at the first pedagogical practice identified by this project. Summary writing, it begins with reading a text, identifying the main ideas, and paraphrase the main ideas without just copying and pasting, which is aligned with the framework of meta-discourse in manifest intertextuality proposed by Fairclough. It has so many benefits. For example, it can enhance academic literacy, which provides students with the opportunity to understand the reciprocal connection between reading and writing. However, in this regard, summary writing could be a little bit challenging for L2 learners, which might just copy the original text verbatim, which is considered plagiarism. So in this regard, a lot of researchers, previous studies, they just mentioned, they proposed incorporating collaborative learning into summary writing. So they found it can enhance integrated reading and writing skills and critical thinking, which is so important for L2 learners to navigate academic discourse. The second, identify pedagogical practices, reading response journals. In this regard, we teachers, so we can just give students agency to read whatever articles they want to engage with, or we can assign readings for our students to be engaged with. I know our students, my students might not like the idea immediately or appreciate the benefits immediately, but they do have a lot of benefits. For example, the pedagogy can enhance written fluency, critical thinking, and rhetorical awareness. And what is even better is that through qualitative teacher responses to these journals, this pedagogy can foster a rich intertextual conversation between instructors and students, which promotes students' reflective practices. So that's why we need the third pedagogical practice, that is discourse level teacher written feedback. So in this regard, we teachers, we can provide written feedback at the discourse level, not just at the sentence level, not just at the syntactic or lexical level. And Goals 9 in 2023 proposes incorporating intertextuality into teacher written feedback, because it is so important for us teachers to recognize students' texts. They don't stand alone. They're not isolated, but part of an interconnected set of texts, including previous assignments, drafts, and received feedback. So what can we teachers do to help? We can provide written feedback, which is actionable, specific, but a little bit challenging, to guide revisions and scaffold the next steps of learning within their zone of proximal development. After identifying the three pedagogical practices, now let's take a look at the first guideline proposed by this project. That is, promoting collaborative learning, such as collaborative summary writing, collaborative reading, where students, they can discuss and decode the challenge text together, or they can collaboratively interpret and reconstruct text content, which improve their language understanding and retention through peer insights. The second guideline proposed by this project is enhancing genre awareness. Fairy Cloud emphasizes the importance of understanding how text they blend elements from various genres, such as text types, and discourses such as different disciplines. In this regard, Holmes calls for the integration of intertextuality with the genre analysis. For example, with teachers, we can show students different text types, non-academic, academic, such as affidavits, cover letter, emails, or research papers, to raise their genre awareness, and we can effectively enhance the teaching of English for academic purpose, reading and writing skills. The third guideline proposed by this project is avoiding plagiarism. We know intertextuality enhances learning effectively, but it also raises some challenges such as plagiarism and inadequate paraphrasing. The reason behind this is that L2 learners, they often struggle with direct copying, improper citations, and cultural differences. For example, I'm from Taiwan, where students, they learn writing by memorizing example sentences or the whole essays. I have to be honest with you, we work really hard. Our motto is hard work brings success. So in this regard, I really think instead of taking punitive measures, we should teach them how to avoid plagiarism. So what can we do to help? We can help these L2 learners develop micro skills such as annotating, paraphrasing, summarizing, and referencing styles, formal referencing styles such as APA styles, to use the source information legitimately in a supportive environment where students, they feel making error is appreciated. The last guideline proposed by this project is scaffolding the intertextual process. So again, I would like to emphasize the importance of understanding the high stakes of integrated academic reading and writing for L2 learner success in academic settings or even professional settings. So what can we teachers do to help? We can make the reading-writing connection so explicit. And even we can scaffold these texts, such as reading to write text or writing to read text. So let's take summary writing for example. Here is the 7-step scaffolding process to make reading-writing connection explicitly. This is adapted from the activity proposed by Ferris and Hitchcock in 2023. So, first of all, we engage our students in initial reading. After that, they skim the original text, previewing the headings or subheadings. And then we guide them to identify the text type, audiences, or the text purposes. The students, they start to annotate the text by creating in-text markings or margin notes, highlighting the main ideas, or write down their questions or disagreement in the margins. And then, stage 4, we ask our students to paraphrase the main ideas for each paragraph, and then they draft their one-sentence summary for each paragraph. After that, which is really important, we encourage our students to check if they have any copied phrases of more than 3 or 4 words, which is not encouraged, which might be plagiarism. So we encourage them to go back to stage 4 to paraphrase the summary again. And then after that, we put them into group or peer discussion where they can use to learn from each other, exchange some ideas through collective scaffolding and languaging. Last but not least, we just encourage them to compose their first reading response entry. And this is how I scaffold teaching summary writing. Here are the conclusion and the future directions. So one significance of this project is the identification of the 3 pedagogical practices. They are summary writing, reading response journals, and discourse level teacher written feedback, which can effectively help integrate intertextuality to enhance L2 learners' academic literacy. And another significance of this project is to propose these 4 guidelines, such as promoting collaborative learning, promoting genre awareness, avoiding plagiarism, and scaffolding the intertextual process, which can better help educators to practically apply intertextuality in educational settings. So for my future direction, I would like to just pursue PhD degree in the future, so I would like to take advantage of one of the identified pedagogical practices, and I want to invite more L2 learners to engage in this research, this discourse analysis research, to have the authentic data, to see how students, they engage with intertextuality. And here are the key takeaways from the presentation. So again, I would like to reiterate the interconnectedness of academic reading and writing. For me, I believe academic reading and writing, they're not isolated activities. Rather, they're a set of interconnected skills required for academic challenges and success. So, it is very important for me, for us, teachers, to tell our students, if you want to be a good writer, you have to be a good reader. My students, they're here, yeah. Yeah, let's read together, okay. So, also I want to just call for a transition from a traditional reading and writing instruction to a more student-centered, interactive, and scaffolding pedagogy in the intertextual process. Last but not least, I believe that there is no one-size-fits-all teaching strategy. There are always contingency and challenges happening in the classroom. But I believe the challenges are just challenges, but they also provided some beautiful moments and chances for us to grow. So I would like to end this presentation with my favorite analogy. For me, learning academic reading and writing is just like sailing in the dark sea. And having a robust and effective strategy or pedagogy is just like building a beacon. So in the future, I would like to build one beacon or so many beacons for my students to sail in the dark sea in the right direction toward their destination with their own efforts and my assistance. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
I have a question. That was fantastic.
Okay.
Are you going to sing for us the title?
Actually, if you can, I have the song right now. So if you want to, I'll pick it up right here.
Now the whole bus is cheering.
So as you were researching this, such a careful reading of so much scholarship, that this is turned into AI. How do you talk about contextuality with students in a world now where students can have ChatGPT, which itself is kind of intertextual, do everything for them? How would you, because you talked about plagiarism, how would you address that given all the scholarship?
My professor is asking about my stance about AI. So here I have to just share my perspective loudly and clear, okay? AI generated texts are not allowed in your final paper. Don't do that, okay? However, at the same time, I understand how difficult for you to have some great ideas. So, if you really don't have any good ideas about one key concept, or you feel so confused about one key concept, you can work with AI. AI can be your teacher, but you are not allowed to copy and paste the original text. You can read the answer. However, please take out one piece of paper and paraphrase it. Write it down, learn it, and try to regurgitate the ideas that you got from AI. That is my stance. I don't avoid it, but I don't encourage it. But if they really feel desperate, I need assistance. So maybe AI sometimes can be the teachers, but we really want to just tell our students, it's the last result. Try by yourself. Your making errors is appreciated. I will give you better scores if you just compose it by yourself. Yeah, because I can tell. If you include some words like landscape or some fancy words, mellifluous and quintessence, I would know. So just use some straightforward words, which is beautifully, but my students, they're fine. They're not using AI. They're awesome. Yeah. So. Okay.
Thank you for a really informative and beautiful synthesis. I appreciate the way you really integrated your theory with the practical teaching application. You brought up the challenges of students coming from countries like Taiwan, where memorization and quotation without citation might be part of the educational culture. And so I wonder if part of your model might be explicitly engaging students in talking about these cross-cultural differences in academic culture.
It's a good idea. I haven't, I will. I think I have to highlight from a lot of perspectives, like pragmatic perspectives, like pedagogical perspectives. Yes, I think I have to highlight. But this is just my case because I come from an environment where the students, they work so hard. If they don't know how to generate essays, they will just memorize the whole essays. So at the same time, I want to just show my understanding, but I will definitely tell them, no, 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 no. Don't do that. Let's paraphrase. Let's try to regurgitate the great essay, something like that. Thank you for the suggestion. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just needed 30 seconds, and thank you. I've learned a lot from this program, and from Dr. Cole, Dr. Osher, Dr. A. Thank you, and so many people support me, and my husband, and my grandma. Thank you so very much for being here to support me. Thank you so very much. Thank you.